Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today we are going to continue down the highway, state by state, alphabetical, Dogman subscriber submissions. Before we get into that, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch displayed directly under this video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload. Shall we? Today's first subscriber submission is the one and only South Dakota subscriber submission. Hello, Mr. Nadolny. How are you? I feel I may have had an encounter recently, but I don't feel it's worthy of being shared on your show. Anyway, I was helping my fiance's friend move to a different part of the reservation. Also, her friend is full-blooded Dakota. But we had just finished moving her items into her new home on Rosebud Res and began our trek to pick up her children at around 9 p.m. Being that I had recently moved here, I can't really name the roads accurately for where we were exactly, but ended up driving a total of 5 hours before we reached a checkpoint to enter back into the Little Wound Reservation. We had missed our turn. That would have shaved off a lot of time to get me back home. So I turned on my GPS and it immediately took us to a sharp right turn, which led to a dirt road that was 15 miles long. It was pitch black darkness, which was new to me, but the drive was uneventful for about 8.5 to 9 miles, when a large black cow came bolting out of the dark within 3 to 4 feet from the front of my pickup. I slammed on my brakes, being that I was only driving 30 on this dirt road, but I still slid a little. The cow ran in the direction we had come from, and I sat there stunned for about 5 seconds when my friend says, "Okay, I think you can go now." I snapped out of it and started driving again when the corner of my eye to the right, about 200 feet or so away, in the darkness beyond the fence, I saw a large black mass run extremely fast down the hill into the ditch. It moved so much faster than a cow, though. I don't know exactly what I saw, or if there was anything at all, but was not willing to find out. 5 to 6 miles later, we came to a main road, and we were back in Little Wound. Anyway, that's my encounter. I hope that you enjoy the coming holidays. Now, these are the encounters that I speak about sometimes, where someone sends me something that they know is obviously something that is not what their brain is trying to tell them it is. Why would a huge black cow that can run very fast be in the middle of a reservation in the middle of the night just running around? That makes absolutely no sense. But yet they feel that it's not worthy of being shared. Well, it is, because any encounter has, even if it's the smallest of encounters, at least still has a minimum of information available. Something that we can, pick through and get out. So, today's second subscriber submission brings us to the great state of Tennessee. This subscriber initially sent me his encounter and asked me to narrate it, look at it, and narrate it for you guys. I did. It messed him up pretty badly mentally. And he went on, because at the time I was just doing narrations, I had just kind of started the channel. And he went on a different channel and shared his encounter verbally. Then really just immediately came back here because that other channel had put a bad taste in his mouth. And he has been a friend of mine since. Where he lives with his family, he has access to a great deal of information that could be used. So I value every time I talk to this person as well. Actually, I value every time I talk to any subscriber. I'm not saying that, but what I mean is, because of where this individual lives, he has access to a lot. So let's get into this. Hey Jeff, how are you? Thank you for your channel. My name is Beau, and I have some pretty frightening things I'd like to share with you. I'm an avid hunter. My name is Beau, like I said before. I've hunted and fished all my life. I joined the Army straight out of high school and now work 6 days a week, but enough about me. Y'all want to know what true nightmares are made of. I found out last October hunting in New River. I had gotten up early that morning, cooked breakfast for my fiancée. She loves fried eggs in the morning, and I do them exactly how she likes them, so we eat. I get my camo out of the bag under my bed and my rifle out of my cabinet. We headed out the morning. I took my fiancée TJ to her work. Her work was on the way to New River. When we pulled in, I gave her a kiss. She tells me to bring her home something good today. I told her I would, and I got back in my jacked up Chevy 2500. The trip to the mountain is always gorgeous. Tennessee back roads are amazing. So I get to my stand and it's very eerie, quiet that morning. Around noon, I decided to go to the truck and grab a sandwich, another bottle of water, so I ate a peanut butter and syrup sandwich TJ made me while I was getting ready. She even had time to write me a note, basically said she loved me and was happy that we were together. Her being 1 month from having our little girl, and she just is an amazing old lady. As I got done, I decided to walk to the stand again. On my walk back into the woods, I start to have this feeling of dread. Something is wrong. That something just isn't right. But I brush it off, thinking maybe it's just my nerves, since this is hog country and I've been chased down the road. I'm walking before, but this is just getting worse. I start getting deeper down the ridge closer to my stand, and I hear a twig break, and I stop. Me being an experienced hunter, I notice movement in the thicket 50 yards away. I notice this brown movement out towards me, so I crouch down and ready my rifle. I train my rifle on the color. I get the movement that this thing is grunting, and this thing is grunting, so I'm thinking, yeah, it's a big buck. God, I was wrong. The thing slowly walked out closer and closer, and I realized, wow, this creature is massive. I realize it's way bigger than a deer on all fours, so I think, okay, an elk walking out? Cool. Sight to see, but I notice its head and shape was wrong. Slowly walking out, and suddenly it stops and stands up. I mean, on 2 legs. It's easily 8 feet tall because I'm 6'6". And the thicket is just above my head, and this thing is a foot to almost 2 above it. It starts sniffing the air. The head snaps right to my direction. I freeze up at that moment, feeling like I am concreted to the ground. The wolf, beginning to let out this really deep, almost demonic growl, it starts snarling and showing its teeth. I, being army trained, realize if it charges me, I'm getting one shot at this thing, so I'd have to make it count. All of a sudden, it begins to tear through the brush on all fours again. I realize the movie Van Helsing werewolf is charging at me full speed. I realize I'm in trouble. I hear this branch break behind me. I look over my right shoulder and see that there is a second, larger, dark wolf behind me on two legs, easily 9 feet tall, built like a bodybuilder with jet black fur. It drops on all fours and starts running full speed towards me as well, but this one is a lot closer. I spin around to see that it is so fast that I could not unsafely my rifle to jump out of its way of this monstrous beast. I hit the hard rocks and slid into the red clay just to realize the road I had been walking and the wolves are set for a collision course. When the larger black wolf hits the little brown wolf, it tackles the brown wolf to the ground as they start rolling down the hill, clawing and biting and slamming into each other into the hard ground. The smaller wolf kicks and claws from the bottom. When the back claws rip the large black wolf's stomach wide open and throws him off him onto the back, the brown wolf turns to me and snarls and starts charging again full speed. I'm awestruck by the power of this wolf and the sheer size as it's on its way towards me, but the big black one slams the brown one from behind, running its arms through the brown one's side, picks it up, and clamps its massive jaws on its shoulder as it throws the brown one down away from me. It lands and rolls 10 yards and jumps and starts running back through the brush. I let out a deep breath. I didn't realize I was holding that moment. I look at how bloody and beaten and laid open that black wolf is, standing with blood dripping off its black claws, glistening white teeth dripping with blood of the brown wolf. For some reason, it registers to me that I have to show that I am no threat to the Kong of the mountain. I lower my rifle down, away from it. As I do, the thing smirks at me and lets out this ear-shattering roar that turns to a howl. As it looks into my soul, I see the eyes of the beast, and I can understand that it was there to show it was the alpha, and as long as I show him respect, he will not be a threat. It turns, drops to all fours, and runs after the other. I instantly take off running, and I can run after the army. Me being in great shape, I take off up the ridge and make it to my truck. I stop. Soon as I get the door, I realize there is blood over the side of my truck. I hesitate to look, but I know I flip my rifle off safety, ready to blast anything that would jump out from the bed of the truck, and I realize there's a big doe lying in the bed of my truck. Its neck is broke. I jump in the truck, spin around throwing gravel and 2 rooster tails. I'm tearing out of the woods. I fly all the way down the mountain through the back roads and do not stop till I reach the diner TJ works at. She can tell I'm shaken up, so she takes me home and I tell her everything. But we decide to tell everyone that I hit the doe with my truck and I got spooked by it because who would believe me, right? Till I got to hearing other people talking. They've seen these massive animals as well. So I thought this would be the best way to get this story off my chest and not get told I am crazy or lying. I just wanted to warn every hunter hiker around that we ain't the top of the food chain, and the king of the mountains is truly massive beasts who has no predators. Same sub, Different email, second email. Hey, it's Beau again. I just wanted to share two different stories with you. I have some Sasquatch encounters, and TJ and I have seen the wolfman again. We've been going hunting in New River again. We have seen a family of Bigfoot for 3 or 4 years now. They've never been aggressive or anything like that. They show respect and are curious creatures. There is 4 Bigfoot in the area. The big male is jet black, 9 to 10 feet tall. He looks like a jacked haired man. The second largest is a female, about 8 feet tall, light brown with black strips down her shoulders and the back. The two smaller ones are between 6 to 8 feet tall, both lighter brown. There's one male and one female juvenile. The young male is dark brown with a light brown patch on his chest. The young female is a light golden brown, an absolute gorgeous color. We usually see them all together as a family unit, or the two males going out together. It looks as if hunting, possibly, because they've both had been on deer trails or the gravel and dirt roads across the area. They are all very curious. They have been known to walk up close within 50 yards or so, whooping and chirping at me and TJ. We've had a blast seeing them and getting them used to us being in the area. We built a cabin down in the holler of the ridge. The cabin in the woods is set next to a gorgeous place, set between creek's branches, but in a way that we can get a vehicle to the door. We started seeing the male first, and I was nervous because it isn't too dark where I see the Dogman. It isn't too far from where I saw the two Dogmen fighting. Shortly thereafter, we got to see the full family. They'd come out and check out the truck, look in the windows at night if we were cooking. There for a while, TJ was scared of them, then she realized they were just curious. It's been amazing to see the young ones playing around in the creek on the summer days, the big male lying in the cool mud with the big female laid up in the shade, while the two younger ones play and splash and roll in the mud, throwing mud. Once the young male ran up behind me while I was fixing a tree stand that was sitting in the bed of my Chevy truck. He scared me with the loud steps running up behind me and let out this rather strange whoop, almost as if to say boo. As he said whoop, I jumped around and startled the young one, was standing there laughing like a fat little feller. He would hold his stomach, kind of like a backwoods Santa, almost a jolly-styled laugh. I laughed and said, "You shit." The big male walked up and grunted towards him. He waved and ran off. TJ had just stepped out on the porch when she heard the sound and wanted to see them some more, since it's been a second time that morning they'd been seen. The big male standing 10 yards away from each other, he dwarfed me. I seen his face. I saw her face, and it showed she was not nervous. She was nervous, if not scared. I was a bit shocked to see him up close, to have been close enough to smell his musky aroma. Last weekend I noticed he had gotten a new open wound on his chest. It was 4 big claw marks down his burly chest. We left some fruit that was going bad out for him so he could get it a bit easier and help him heal up, because it showed me he had protected this area this weekend. We went up again, but didn't hear them or see them anywhere. It worried me something happened to him and that family would be in trouble. So I kept looking for them that Friday night, not seeing them at all. The next morning, TJ got up and made breakfast for us. We went hunting on the ridge, as always. We had a good day together. We've always been side by side. Her love of hunting just made her so much more attractive to me. I honestly am the luckiest man in the world to have my fiancée. Saturday evening, we got down to the camp, and we noticed something had been through the leaves all around the camp. It gave us a bit of hope that they were okay. We had then gotten ready for supper, started cooking. As the sun was setting in the new river, it gets pitch black within a few minutes. TJ had stepped out onto the porch to go and grab some. TJ stepped out to the porch to go and grab me my bottle of Jack Daniels out of the truck, and I heard the door open on the truck. A few moments later, I heard it slam as she came running through the door. I dropped everything and hurried to make sure she was okay. She was just standing there saying she thought our big male neighbor was coming up the creek bed towards us. So we decided to turn the camp stove down so we could step outside and watch him approach. As we are standing there, I light a cigarette and hand it to TJ. Lit my own. I realize he's walking kind of weird and not sounding good. His normal, strong, crisp sounding grunts are sounding more deep and raspy. So of course I'm worried. I feel sorry for the big guy. I take a bag of fruit out of the truck. We walk down closer to the creek bed. Creep back up the creek. We creep back up the creek bank, back towards the camp. As the critter is coming closer. Me not knowing, I step into the hole where one of the young ones had grabbed a clump of mud and thrown it. I hit the ground hard. As I was stepping backwards, I stood up quickly, trying not to spook the Bigfoot with my pain groan. TJ turned and helped me back to my feet. As she turned her back from the animal, my heart sank as I seen the deep patch black wolfman had won the fight before with the brown one. He starts picking up the pace towards us. In that moment, I jumped to my feet, told TJ to run, that I'd hold it off. As this massive body jumps through the creek, still at an incredible speed, I put myself between the beast and my old lady. I couldn't let anything happen to her. So I am charging him, yelling this primal roar, never knew I had, that erupts from the most deepest primal parts of my soul. The wolfman breaking out of the water on a full sprint towards me. As I had gotten his attention, I draw my Bowie knife out of its sheath my grandfather had in Vietnam. At this moment, knowing I am going to die as he would destroy me, but I couldn't allow him the chance to hurt my fiance. I'm just going to try and cut his legs or stick my blade in his throat. I wasn't thinking of me, though. As I said, all I could do was give my fiance a chance to get to the truck and escape. All of a sudden, there's this roar from the top of the hill, standing proud. The older female was roaring and beating her chest as the wolf stopped, so do I, to see the new creature trying to enter the fight. TJ stops on the dime, and she is staring at me with tears in her eyes as I realize she has a hunting rifle from the bed of the truck. The wolf starts to snarl and growl. I realize I'm in trouble, but I can't let him get her. I was close enough to look at his eyes. The way the amber light glows from the stars in the night just struck a chord in my mind. I got into the fight stance as he swats at me. Once, I slash my blade towards him, missing with the slashes. He misses a second swipe. I dodge with a back step, then stepped into the danger zone, and I slashed at him, cutting him deeply on his side, but it barely affected him. He then swings and catches me with his massive claw. I didn't get out of the way quick enough from the third swipe, but the fact I fought in the cage in the army definitely helped on my speed and agility. Even though he missed, I had looked for an opening to take my shot. On impact, I got launched onto my back, knocking every bit of breath out of me. I put my hand on my slash on my chest and ribs, cutting my shirt and my skin like a razor through paper, as well as connecting enough to break them like twigs to check and see if I was able to continue the fight. When my attention goes to his golden amber eyes again, I see that the wolf's jet black fur making the eyes seem even brighter as the sun's starting to set, but I realize how smart he is. I just know I couldn't give up till she was safe, because last I seen she had stopped, and now it's fight or flight for me. And in my heart, knowing that she has to get away to be there for our beautiful daughter, being just under a year old, I am trying to get to my feet. All of a sudden, TJ shoots the alpha werewolf in the chest. Unfortunately, it barely phases him with a 270 hunting rifle. TJ comes running up to me and, having another gun with her, throwing it to me. We both aim at him, trying to hold him off. We realize that the young female and the young male standing across the creek have started throwing rocks at the wolfman. It's starting to back away slowly towards TJ and the truck as the big male bursts from the thicket and to clear the creek in one jump. The massive male standing between us and the werewolf is roaring and beating his chest. The wolf then starts running again. The big male, Sasquatch, and the alpha werewolf hit into this devastating brawl. The wolf clawing and slashing the big male. Proudly standing there, he grabbed the wolf by the throat and held him back as the two youngsters are still pelting the wolfman with rocks. The male, swinging its massive large arm down onto the wolf's head, and hits its mark with insane power, but the werewolf and him begin this punching, clawing, biting. The Bigfoot male lands another huge shot to the head. With a hammer fist, it drops the Dogman to its knees as he raises his arm to strike the alpha werewolf again. The wolfman slashes the big male in the back of the legs, dropping the Bigfoot. Bigfoot collapsing onto its knees. As the Bigfoot hits its knees, it lets out this pained bellow. The wolfman, beginning more agile and quick, jumps on top of the male Bigfoot. Luckily, the Bigfoot snags the wolfman, holding him with his left hand on his throat again, just off the top of him. He keeps landing rights as they both unleash a swarm of slashes and swipes, with the occasional punch to get where I can stand again. I quickly pull the bolt back and slam it forward, reload the rifle. As I raise it towards the wolfman on top of the Bigfoot, who had come to our rescue, I take aim at him, hoping that a well-placed shot, while his distracted, could either kill him with a headshot or hit him hard enough so the Bigfoot can take advantage of the situation. As in any fight, it takes a millisecond from a well-placed shot or any type of distraction. I know that it's going bad for the male Bigfoot as I am trying to think of anything to help, because I can't stab the Dogman in the back because I couldn't be agile enough, losing a lot of blood and broke ribs, but thankfully the Bigfoot, landing a right beside the fight, swings a rather large down tree and smashes the wolfman in the snout as it flips backwards, knocking the Dogman off the male Bigfoot. He rolls twice over, then quickly gets to his feet. Under him, encroaching, almost pouncing position, he starts to snarl and bare his teeth as the beta swings the log across its stomach and chest. As it impacts, it splinters as if it were nothing. The Dogman jumps to all fours and runs a good distance away. He turns and lets out this deep guttural growl as it stands back up on its hind legs. The Dogman, thinking better of the fight, a full Bigfoot family and a hunter and a half with guns, he looks at me, bares his teeth, looking toward me as I'm standing with my busted, bleeding ribs. We are all holding our breath as he then almost falls, letting out a pained whine. He staggers forward a few steps to catch himself. The Dogman knows he's hurt bad, as do I. I let out a breath I'm holding in that moment again. As we are staring down for a second time, the massive, beaten, and bloody Dogman turns around and continues running off the direction he had come from, dropping down onto all fours, limping and hobbling off. At a high rate of speed, he was truly in a bad way, as well as I. I couldn't chase him to finish him off, but I am in really rough shape. The female turns to the male, making a delicate chirping and clicking as she kneels down to the male, the young ones across the creek, to reunite with the two large family members. TJ moving closer to my side, wrapping me in a hug and holding me, saying, "Thank God you are okay." That she has never been with anyone who would put his life on the line. I wince in pain. The big male, getting his bearings, stands from the ground, and about 10 yards away from me, he looks at me and does this light chirping and clicking toward me, cocking his head like a dog would, seeing if I was okay. You could honestly see how human of an emotion it was. They are so intelligent. It amazes me seeing his emotions towards me, showing that knew I was hurt and cared, shows that just how beautiful and intelligent these creatures are. The whole family standing there in front of me and TJ blocking the way from where the dogman had run. They all let out this ear-ringing roar. The big male turns, grunts at the young male as he turns to leave. He heads over to the fruit and leftover cheeses and sausage, picks it up effortlessly, where it took me carrying with both arms, puts it under his right arm like you would a book, and joins the others as they're making their way back up the hill to the top of the ridge where their cave is located, from what I believe anyway. TJ and I head back to the cabin and go back inside. She checks me out, wraps my ribs, cleans my pretty deep claw marks on the side. As we are loading the truck in record time, we leave, TJ holding my hand, saying that she's proud of me and thankful that I'm okay. We get out of Dodge, rest up and recoup from the fight. As we head towards the hospital, I get myself checked up on the gashes. While we had left knowing that I can't stay away from the woods, but definitely being more respectful and more prepared next time. I just want people to know that the second time seeing the alpha wolfman was also the day I had done the dumbest thing in my life by going claw to blade with the wolfman. I just want people to know all Bigfoot are not dangerous and deserve to be respected. I want to let people know that I thought with the bottom couple lines because people need to know they are there and they are smart, but they are not evil cryptids or they are primal animals that are not just devils. The Bigfoot family, the male has survived. I went to see him again. He is okay. He actually walked a lot closer than he would before the fight. He was very calm, even held out his hand and patted his side, looking at me, trying to see how my side was. Saturday. I haven't told anyone but TJ that I've seen them again till now, but he is okay and actually has a new strip of gray coming from his shoulders, which I wonder if it's him aging or him being a true alpha, where I have heard in legends of the alpha Bigfoot turn gray, or if they are certain species, they get a gray strip on their shoulders. Third email. Hey, it's Beau again. I have been tracking and learning the routine in the way of the Dogman act and how they mark their territory. Here the last few weeks have been really interesting. For the first time since I've been studying him in more depth, the Dogman and Bigfoot are keeping their distance from each other. Know about 4 times. And since the Bigfoot are marking more tree and scent markings a lot lately, I have noticed how the Dogman is marking his area as well, bit with slashes on the trees, or they look more like something grabbed the small sapling and shredded the wood like cotton fibers. It's truly amazing to see what he can still do. I have taken the time to watch his marks, and he decided to let me know when I did because I made the deadly mistake of unwittingly walking into his marked area. I had walked into the woods at about 12:30, 1 o'clock. As I washed down a sandwich TJ made me with a bottle of Mountain Dew, I was walking up to the spot where I had hunted a few times. I figured I'd go and try. Spot that was close yet flat because New River is all straight up and down. Walking down the road, hearing my boots crunch on the gravel and hard mud, I notice a dull thudding noise behind me. I stop and look over my shoulder to notice there's a Sasquatch walking along the road with me, keeping pace but slightly behind me, just enough to make sure he could see me. It slowly walked down and back towards the cave, so I kept my pace, figuring I got in there quietly, I'd be able to cut the hogs or deer if from water, but I started walking out of this small trail that branched out and wrapped along the side of the ridge. I heard something move and heard about off rock coming down the hill to my right hand side, which was as steep as a sheer cliff, but the Dogman jumped halfway down, landing without moving an inch. The second jump, he made it to the bottom as the Dogman started walking out to the road toward me, staring at me with this malicious look in his eyes. Yet again, I am stuck 30 yards from a big black Dogman. Had definitely had my attention now. I started to back up slowly as he was strutting towards me, head up, ears perked at me as those fiery amber eyes stared at me. I looked back to him when out of nowhere there is a tree that had gotten knocked out of the way as the young male Sasquatch charged out into the road behind me. As he grunted and let out this loud whoop, the Dogman stopped on a dime and jumped twice, way back up the cliff. As I got the heck out of there, I was walking back with the young male behind me about 10 yards. He walked all the way to the cabin with me. Sunday evening, as we were getting ready to sit down for supper, TJ said, "Look behind you, the young male is here." I turned to see him walking out of the thicket and noticed that he had a hand on his face as he was walking. He staggered slowly, bumping into trees, holding his face. I noticed he was bleeding. It was trickling off his elbow. He sees me standing there and drops his hand to his side, letting out this greeting whoop. I returned one to him. My heart sank. He had a deep slash mark where it looked like 3 claw marks raked his face. The middle one so deep and wide, the other 2 weren't nearly as bad, but still bleeding. The older male, they had gotten into a fight. Now he has a silver stripe down his shoulders. It runs all the way to his wrist, almost like he earned his stripes as a military officer would. I am not sure what it means, but he is looking good, doing great. The young female and the older female are still doing good. I've heard from some of the old timers around here that the so-called mountain men are Bigfoot. To a T, I got to talking, and they all believe that they protect the area and keep the people who take care of the woods and respect Mother Nature and all her animals, which has made me think I was worthy of them to protect me, and it was an honor. As this research has been going on these last few months, that I had been on the mend where the Dogman had broken my ribs and left me with a massive slash marks, which I sent you a picture before. But anyways, the notes I have shown that the family has been real active while the Dogman sightings have bottomed out again, and he may be getting ready to move on again, but it does make me curious where he is going. I should try to warn people he is on the move. TJ has been keeping my ribs cleaned and patched up from the fight where I got smacked by the alpha dog man. Also, 3 weeks ago, I noticed 2 more dogmen in the area as they cruised down the ridge. The big male on all 4 was bigger than a bear I had ever seen, as the other 2 dogmen just showed the alpha respect and kept their body language submissive and respectful, but they never stayed around. If you need any of the encounters so far, just let me know. I'll resend the encounters a bit more coherently, as my old lady is putting the notes together and in order for me to continue my research. Thank you, and I'm sorry if these are a bit choppy. 4th email. Okay, here are my notes. Please let the world know we have kept our heads down because there has been 2 guys in suits that came in after a crash site where there was a dogman attack on 2 men. The 2 men disappeared in the area. I found their wreckage and what was left of one of them. When I got back to the area doing research on the dogman, I noticed that a Sasquatch alpha has got stripes down his shoulders, is doing very well. About a month ago, the younger male had followed me on the trail a ways. I was walking out of the trail and decided to walk me home. I continued walking to the hunting spot. Then I heard some noises, rocks falling off the cliff. Then I saw the alpha dogman jump off a high wall, sliding down in front of me, growling, showing his teeth as he stood at his full height, 9 feet. Locked eyes with me, my heart sank. I started to back slowly. The younger male, Bigfoot, burst through the trees to get in front of me, and the male was standing, roared at the dogman. The dogman answered him with a roar, but took a step backwards, then jumped twice and was over the cliff. The juvenile walked me all the way back to camp from a slight distance. After this, the young male showed up 2 or 3 days later, bleeding from his right eye, which has a slash mark that matches my side, and was bumping into trees he could hardly see. He was hurt, but he is okay. He has a bad scar across his face that goes across his eye and to his chin. There were 2 dogmen that came through the area. Male dogman scared them away, but the dogman has been keeping his distance and doing good at keeping his area. When the 2 guys disappeared from the mountains in New River, I had a bad feeling that I knew where to find them or any clues of them. As I made my way out a trail that is above the Bigfoot territory, I was curious and wanted to help the family be able to have closure. I came upon a Razor UTV that was them. The tube steel was destroyed, the frame bent, tire slashed, roll cage crushed, seat missing. It was extremely bloody. So pretty much, like he said, these are choppy. He is writing them quickly. Those of you that have heard the interviews with him know that this is his area of living where he lives. He loves this area and he loves doing the research. So I'm stopping here quickly just to. He came across the UTV. For those of you who don't know what a UTV is, it's an all-terrain vehicle, but you sit in it like a car. There's 1-seaters, 2-seaters, and 4-seaters. I believe there's 6-seaters now, but it's got tubes in case you crash, like a roll cage and stuff. So this UTV he came upon is completely destroyed. I walked up and found what was left of one of the man, which was an arm, rib, and head. The other was just a bloody shirt, what looked like a femur and a few rib bones, one right hand, and a brown puddle of blood showing that it had been at least a week or 2 old. It was almost enough for me to puke right on the spot, but I didn't. I slowly backed up and made my way to safety as I could hear something walking slowly around me just out of eyesight. So I made my way out of the area. I took a few minutes to see what happened and seen that there was almost blood where they had shot a dogman and hair, but I couldn't stay or get pictures. I had to get out of there. When I got back, I let the police know that there was an animal attack, and within 20 minutes, I showed them where it was. They called 2 men in suits who were truly short with answers to me. When they asked what I knew, I told them, and they both said that it was a bear, and after they confirmed that it was a canine hair and canine blood, they tried to tell me that it was a big wolf and it had lost its tracker. That was a weird thing, because here's something I want to emphasize on. And like he said, it's choppy. He's either Beau is either using talk to text, or he's like using his phone to text me these emails. And I really want to sit down someday and go through them all and clean them up. But that would probably take me a month to do, because there's a lot. Obviously, we've been here for 30 minutes. So pretty much this is before Victor was even in the picture. All right. These two guys show up on his property and say, it's a bear, yada, yada. Beau looks at him and says, no, this was canine. It's obviously canine blood, canine hair. Then they say it was a wolf that lost its tracker. That's a little strange. I mean, in my eyes it is, but I'm always looking at things like it's strange. Moving on, sorry. One man told me that I need to get off the mountains and let everyone know that it was a wolf or bear, nothing more, and made a comment about if I didn't, that they'd be back around. I have seen 3 black SUVs running the roads after that, with a lot of men in full battle gear who came in. I am keeping my head low, knowing that there is been 1 alpha, a brown one, that fought him, and 2 that I had seen him run off. And now the feds are around for a solid 2 weeks. I kind of need to get away and keep out of the way of them. And there last night, the 2 men showed up, and they were telling me to remember that it was nothing more than a rogue bear wolf. But man, I have seen them both kills, and this was way more destructive than either. There was no way either could do that. The razor like that, and I am sorry if I freaked you out. I mean, hell, I was, but the man made it clear, and the SW, I don't know what that means, men's story under the rug. Oh, they sweep the man's story under the rug after they was on the news about disappearing, then nothing after they found, but it's just what's went on in the area for the last while. I'd seen the damage, and it was only one thing it could be. The notes consist of details about how the Dogman reacts, and it shows that he is showing respect to the Sasquatch in their territory. He does keep to himself, so he ain't allowing other Dogmen in the area. That way, he is still Alpha Dogman in the area. Next email I received from Beau. Hey man, I don't know when I am going to be able to continue my research. We just survived a house fire where I was at work. TJ was home. The AC unit caught on fire. She tried to put the fire out, but she could not, and ran up to work to get me. I sprinted to the house, tried to put it out myself. I was not able to. The fire got in the couch where it was under the AC unit, and it spread like crazy. When everything happened, TJ yelled for me that the animals were still inside. I jumped into action, busted out a window on the front door so it could vent for the cats to jump out of if they got away out. And then I climbed in the window and went into the house to grab TJ's puppy. I was not able to save him, but as I jumped back out the window, I got a gash on my arm that's 1/4 of an inch up and down from the bone, about 4 inches deep on my right arm. So at this point, I'm looking at the situation with Beau going, bro, it's ironic that all this happened. Then there's these 2 dead hunters. These guys in suits come out. You tell the guys in suits, you know what's going on. And then your house ends up burning down. Mind you, during this time, this has been going on for a couple of years. This file that I have is long, big. His daughter is older now. He's got a second kid on the way at this time. No, yes. He's got 2 kids now. They rebuilt the cabin. And, well, there's more here. We have finally got the feeling of being safer. The Dogman has left the mountain. We went by last night to see how everything was going, and the black SUVs was there, as always. When we got to the cabin and started exploring the area, making sure that everything was doing well since the ice and rain and whatnot. It's been rough on the hand-built cabin. You heard the SUVs tear up the mountain. I glance ahead. One pulled in behind a truck. Agent Smith was a full army-style armor. He walked up to me with a shit-eating grin on his face. Beau, you know how to get in and out the way, and laughed at me, telling me that a wolf or bear is going to take care of now. So pretty much what happened is I'm really going to have to go through all of this and sort this out. After the hunters had been killed, these agents, government came in, and they pretty much, I believe, they set the fire. Beau, I don't know. Beau is kind of on the fence if they did or not, but I am really thinking they did. So during all this, the cliche Agent Smith comes in, handles everything. The Dogman is now gone. The family of Squatch are up in the ridge, which Beau wanted to keep them a secret, so he did not say anything about the Squatch family. Obviously, the Sasquatch family had been up there for a very long time, so they know how to travel throughout the woods without being seen. These people end up leaving. The government ends up leaving. It's a complete shit show. Beau and TJ end up rebuilding. Next time I talk to Beau, he is sharing with me that he had went up to he was walking in the woods and saw the male, the alpha male Bigfoot. And the alpha male waved him to follow him. Beau had never been to the cave area, ever. And he was invited in the cave area where the Squatch family lives. And the beta, or female Sasquatch, the oldest, was holding a very small baby Sasquatch. Beau then left, went to his home, grabbed TJ, grabbed some fruit, grabbed some stuff like that to give to the family of Sasquatch. The last time I spoke with him, I had him on the interview, and he shared, this was three months ago, he shared his last experience with us all. So I'm going to share it with you as I remember it pretty vividly. So here we go. Beau is out hunting one afternoon. He is set up in a field. He's watching this deer creep along a field, and it's kind of staying on the wood line. He sees a large mountain lion as well, standing on the wood line above where the deer's at, ready to pounce. As the huge female canine or whatever is going to jump, Beau sees a large arm come out of the woods and grab the mountain lion. And it is a Dogman. And the Dogman and mountain lion kind of squabble for a little bit. Not a long time. There was no match. The female mountain lion was kind of using her back legs to shred at the chest of the Dogman. Only seconds later was that mountain lion just lied on the ground dead. Beau is terrified witnessing this, doesn't want to be seen, and thankfully enough, he's able to get out of there. And that is the last time I talked to Beau. Super nice guy. I feel I need to do him some justice and go through his encounters and his notes that he has shared with us and piece them together, no matter how long it takes, and retype them and send him a retyped copy. That way he has the whole thing, as well as I share it again. So, all right, well, this is the last and only South Dakota and Tennessee. One Tennessee. We've got some more Tennessee coming tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, enjoying sharing it with you. I really enjoy Beau. Super nice guy, man. I would love to just have him on the show for like 2 hours just to go through everything that he's went through. Because he's just done bits and pieces, and it's hard because he's a new dad. He's got 2 little kids. His daughter's getting older now, but not old. She's still a baby. But, he's got a brand new baby, so it's kind of stressful around the house for him right now. He's got, full-time job. TJ's taking care of the kids, yada, yada. But maybe someday I can get him to come on for a couple hours, and we can just start from day one. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I know I just said that, but please be kind to each other, and may the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us through that path we call life. Until later tonight, my friends.